wanted to make this video. It's kind of been on my mind. I might remake it, post this, and then make a new one. And it's about basically smoking. So what you find is that nowadays everybody is codependent. Yeah, it's very, very rare to find someone who, they just live their life. They don't depend on something. Like, say, a lot of people depend on you have your coffee in the morning or your tea. But nowadays, people are very, very codependent on a few things. Three or four things. One of them is another person. That's where you have your energy vampires. Yeah, they're in a relationship, but they're using that other person as an energy source, as a battery, or as a mirror, even, because they don't have their own reflection. They don't have any reflection, so they need you to react to show them that they exist. Yeah, so they use you as an energy source, getting your attention and your energy. That's one. Two is the mobile phone. People are walking down the street and they're watching something on their mobile phone. They're not looking where they're going. They're not aware of their surroundings. They're not looking at the beautiful trees, leaves falling down, bees pollinating plants, beautifully smelling pots, pollen flying around. No, they're looking at something on their phone. They're looking at, they're maybe texting, Chad or Tyrone, who's also texting like 30 other females. Yeah, like only like 5 guys, dating like the same 100 women. And smoking and vaping. Now, if you're watching this video, if you're on my channel and you're kind of understanding the viewpoint that I have about a lot of things, there's a good chance that you are a bit of a set apart person. So you're a bit different. You're lit up in the spiritual realm. You're more on you're not perfect, but you're more on the side of someone who tries to do mainly good, right? Now, you have the other side which is the dark side, which people that they may present that they're good, they may present that they're charitable, they may present that they're empathic, but really these people harbor bad intentions for people, for themselves. They have a very negative outlook on the world. They're very unforgiving. They're very vengeful. They want to get revenge. They want to punish, and they have to devalue people. They're on the dark side. Now, this duality is just a part of the game. Like life, I know it's like I only started seeing things like this recently. Like life is like a game. Like you need to have the dark and the light together as one, just like yin and yang, positive and negative. Even though they both exist in the same time, it's very hard for them to both exist in the same space. So what that means is dark and light don't fellowship. That's in the Bible. Yeah, it's like usually what happens is you get a light person and you get a dark person, and the dark person is trying to change the light person, take them onto their side, trying to like corrupt you, and that happens. But a lot of the time, your dark and light is preordained, like it's something that's been set such a long time ago. It's hard to change. So what that means is, if you're a light person and you're surrounded by people doing bad, say you join a gang or whatever and you start committing crime, after a while you would tend to like go back to the light. You come out of that gang, or you would try to stop people in the gang from going too far. Like you're doing certain things and you're the person that's like saying, oh, allow it, don't go, don't do this, don't do that, you're the person in there. And sometimes you're put in those situations for that reason. Like you've been chosen to be in that situation to try to prevent things from going too far, like people killing people for no reason, like those initiations and stuff. So when you think about another codependency, smoking is another one. Now, anything that takes you away from consciousness is demonic. So what I mean by that is, you know, if you understand these videos, you're very conscious, you're very present, you're very aware of like yourself, you're very in the moment, right? But the other side of people, they tend to live in a perpetual cycle of the past. Sometimes they're in the future and they're anxious, but a lot of the time they're just replaying this video of what happened years ago when they were traumatized. So they're not very present as a people. They're very cyclical. Now, when obviously smoking in itself isn't demonic, like sometimes people make it as a ritual, like they have a cigarette with their coffee, they have a cigarette after they have food, they might have a stroll at night and have a cigarette. Or I'm watching Dry Creek Ranger School, which is this Dwayne, there's a guy who talks about horses and talks about life, and it's a very good channel. And he smokes a cigar and he just enjoys this, just a cigar. And I was listening to a tape about Freud or something. He was smoking a cigar and he was telling people to quit smoking. And somebody was like, "Oh, excuse me, Mr. Freud, you're telling us to quit smoking and you're over there smoking this fat cigar." And he turned around and he went, "Because sometimes smoking a cigar is just smoking a cigar." And that exists. There are people that can enjoy an odd cigar, or they can smoke, but your smoke intake is like, it's not more than 10 cigarettes a day, right? But what you find with people that are codependent with cigarettes is like they're smoking and smoking and smoking and smoking. They literally cannot stop smoking. If you see people vaping, they're like, it's like they're dragging, the fumes is coming out their nose. They can't get enough. It's because they're trying their best to not be present. People on that side, a lot of the time, they're running away from themselves. They're alcoholics. They're addicted to illicit substances. If they're not addicted to the illicit substances, they're addicted to vaping. It's the same thing. It doesn't really matter what the codependency is. I was working with a guy who, he would smoke rollies. He would smoke rollies, like maybe one rollie, and sometimes he would roll another rollie, and then he would finish the rollie, get into his van, and then he would start vaping. And I'm like, "You just had a cigarette?" He's like, "Yeah, like whatever." And it's a perpetual thing. It's never ending, like literally running from yourself. Like, what you need to do is just chill and just breathe. I know it sounds like so like counterintuitive, like what, breathe, how I breathe? But even the breath in itself, if you look at a lot of Indian yogis, breath is life. So the more you smoke, the more you kill the alveoli or the alveoli in the lungs, and your lungs can't hold as much oxygen to pump around the blood around the body. So what you find is you have less life force energy in your actual body. So by reducing vaping, by reducing smoking, you feel more Shakti, you feel more life force energy. It's like, even when I used to smoke, and I didn't smoke more than 10, but I used to have a smoke. I used to wake up and straight away have a cigarette of a coffee, or sometimes I would, I'll have like this artistic practice, and then afterwards that I would now smoke loads and all this. And it was a part of my ritual, like, I'd burn a certain incense and then I would smoke, and I would, have all this strong coffee. But what I found is, like, now I don't smoke. I jump out of bed in the mornings, It's not like when I used to smoke. I used to wake up, I used to feel like this, like, little mini human sat on my chest, like this leprechaun, like this, like, sat literally on my chest. I'd wake up and there'd be something sat on me, because of that heavy kind of tar and nicotine. It's just a very heavy feeling and vibration, and it really shuts down that being open, allowing your lungs to fill up with air and life force, and you can build life force. You can move the energies around your body. You can channel different things. You can think about things like Kundalini and things like Chi and Qigong and all these things. Yeah, so it's something that we need to speak about. I might come back to this topic, but you can just look at people that smoke, and even the body language. A lot of times, sometimes they're crouched over on the floor on the pavement smoking, or should I say, especially if you over smoke, because there are people that do smoke and some people do enjoy the smoking. I think smoking was like, it originated like 5000 BC, like it was something that was very shamanic. I know a lot of Central Americas, like Ecuador and Peru, they used to smoke leaves, and there was a lot of indirect smoke, so they used to burn the actual tobacco just in the air, and people would take the smoke in that way. And I know the way, I remember from my school days, I don't know, don't quote me, but from my school days, when you smoked, I remember my teacher saying the smoke, it made a chemical that would copy a neurotransmitter in your brain that would lie to you and tell you that you were feeling calm, but you were not being calm, because your body would be fighting against the tar and the nicotine and the toxic chemicals in your body, but the chemical being sent to your brain is telling you that you're calm. So it's two things that are working against each other, which is so unhealthy just even thinking about that. So yeah, try to reduce the amount of smoke. If you do smoke, if you do vape, if you do puff on the shisha pipe, all of these things. It's also marijuana, smoking the Mary Jane every day. It's again a fat soluble substance, so it builds in the brain, can lead to things like schizophrenia, depression. A lot of the new strain these days are very not very clean. They're not very pure. A lot of they're mixed. There's some people put glass and seeds. There's all kinds of things in this new strains of weed. So I would definitely cut down. I know sometimes it's very difficult to, go cold turkey on things, but I would definitely try to start thinking about reducing the smoke. And also, there's so many negative things, like you get nicotine in your fingernails, your nails go yellow, your saliva becomes acidic, it stains your teeth, your breath, your tongue, everything that, your tongue is something that is a first line of defense. And if you have all these chemicals blocking your taste buds, even killing your taste buds, you don't get to taste food the way you want to taste food. You open yourself up to diseases, mouth cancer. So just think about reducing that, really. I don't want to make this too long, so I'll stop there. But I will definitely say anything that takes you away from consciousness, anything that takes you away from the present, is not good. And smoking is one of those things. Vaping also, it takes you away from here right now. You smoke drugs, or if you smoke cigarettes, it closes your breath, it reduces your ability to feel, it reduces your ability to be at one with source. So definitely think about that. And yeah, keep going, and hopefully see you soon.